not today. We'll start with utilities. We'll start with regular.
We're just be regular.
We don't
We
always
don't
do.
have utilities to
Yeah, it's just a regular, no. There's,
We have airport boards.
February 14th, February 14th.
well, see, it says canceled.
Sunday.
It should say,
14th. Nothing's canceled.
it should say you got utilities.
Yeah, because mine says canceled. Log in, log out, and then log back in.
I just logged in.
You just logged in?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 6 o'clock.
Okay. Oh, well. Yeah, let's get it going.
Everybody ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a little past time. We've had some things to do up here. But anyway, we're going to get started. And you're going to notice we got a new face up here tonight. As we go along, we'll explain why we're so blessed to have her here tonight. So first off, at this time, I'd like to invite, everybody calls him Reverend, I call him Preacher, David Player, pastor of the Victory Memorial Methodist Church. Come up and give our invocation if you'll please rise.
What a joy it is to be gathered together tonight. I remind us of this wonderful form of government that we have, democracy. Not perfect. But boy, there are a lot of other governments that are a far cry from what we have. And what makes democracy great are people. People who care, people who serve, people who have integrity. We have many of them here in Guymon, and I'm honored when I see those who are in office and those who are running for office. I'm proud of people who care enough to commit and get involved. So for all of you, I take my proverbial hat off, and I thank God for these United States of America and for our democracy, and I pray that we can do the very best job we can, representing and serving together. The Bible says if anybody lack wisdom, let them ask of God, who gives generously, liberally to all, doesn't withhold. And I pray for that wisdom, especially for our leaders here in Guymon, both in local government and civic leaders who are trying to build a strong Guymon and a wonderful community. And the scripture also says that in the mouth of many counselors there's wisdom, there's strength, there's safety. And so when we do counsel, like we do here, it's not just one person kind of getting their way, it's all of us working together to find out what is best. And so I thank you for the willingness to work together. It's messy, it takes time, sometimes it's aggravating, but there's great strength and wisdom when we work together and look for the best option. So for all of those things tonight, I have a glad heart and I give God thanks. Let us pray. Beloved Heavenly Father, we thank you for Guymon, for this place where we live, for the neighbors we have, for the community that has been forged here in Guymon over the decades. A community that I believe is godly, not perfect, but there's a real faith and a godliness among us, a desire to know you and honor you and live in a way that pleases you. Among us there's a real love and care for neighbor, where we work together and look out for each other and try our best to take care of each other. Thank you for that. Thank you for the industry we see among us, especially in our small businesses, in our agricultural community, where everybody's doing their level best to make things work and to come up with a good profit at the end of the month or the end of the year. Bless especially our farmers and ranchers who are going through this terrible drought. Thank you for irrigation, that we can still produce even when things are this dry. We ask you to send us a good rain, 3, 4, 5 inches, Lord, in the next weeks, and if necessary, months. Bless our council and all of our leaders. Give them wisdom. Help them to work well together. Help them to build an even stronger Guymon, where people who come here will say, wow, there's something about the Panhandle, there's something about Guymon. All of us today say thank you for who you are and what you have given us. And we thank you in the name of Jesus. And everybody said,
Amen.
At this time, I'm going to ask Jadlyn to lead us in the pledge to allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we'll sit down. Well, before we get started, before we call the meeting to order, I want to explain how Miss Mesta, I never can pronounce her name right. Anyway, why she's up here. Recently, there was a deal in Oklahoma City, the Mayor's Council of Oklahoma has an annual Congress of Mayors, a mock legislature. And part of the deal is before that, we have an essay contest for 8th graders, if I were mayor. And this year, to get the word out, and been anyway, they sent out emails to all the schools, all the 8th grade teachers. And Councilman Setzer got it, and Miss Davis got it, and they got their kids together, and how many had?
About 45.
About 45 kids wrote essays. Well, I'm on the, I'm generally get tapped on the shoulder to get to judge some of these things, so they sent them to me, and they've narrowed it down out of the 700 some of the state, down to 12 people, 12 kids. And out of the 12, when I'm going through them, out of the 12, 3 of them were from Guymon, America. And so we judged those babies, and the next day I got a text and an email that she is #1 in the state. She won, and she came to the city and represented Guymon very well, read her essay. So what we're going to do tonight, for the first part of the meeting, she's going to be the mayor. She's going to run the show. So we're going to get her started. I'm going to turn that to you in the Mac. You're going to say agenda item, you're going to wrap that gavel. Yeah. Hit the beat.
I call this meeting to order at 6:07 p.m. Agenda item number 2, attendance roll call and determination of a quorum.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Swager?
Here.
Mr. Alvidrez?
Present.
Mr. Setzer?
Present.
Ms. Sanchez?
Present.
Ms. Hoffman? Mr. Petty? Mr. Shannon?
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, now I'm going to read this one. Agenda item number 3 is presentation of a proclamation to Yadelia Mesta. Is that right? Oh, I got it. So I'm going to let Mr. Setzer present that to you. So if you'll stand up right here, he'll read it to you.
Proclamation. Whereas the Guymon Public School encouraged student participation in a statewide competitive essay contest sponsored by the Oklahoma Municipal League to learn about municipal government and reflect on the roles of key elected officials in their local government. And whereas Yadelia Mesta of the 8th grade junior high school wrote and submitted an essay titled "If I Were Mayor," to tell others what she would do if she were mayor of her city, a better place to live. And whereas Yadelia Mesta competed with over 1,200 students from across the state and won first place of $250, and read her essay at the annual Congress of Mayors at the Oklahoma State Capitol on Friday, February 10th, 2023. Now, therefore, I, Joshua Lee Setzer, not mayor of Guymon and Guymon City Council, hereby congratulate and present this proclamation to Yadelia Mesta on her accomplishment and encouragement of the youth of Guymon, Oklahoma, to become involved in local government and leadership and strengthening and preserving the right of self-government in and for future generations. Given under my hand the seal of City Guymon, Oklahoma, this 14th day of February 2023.
Anybody want to take a picture?
I'd have to take a picture. Can I take a picture? Everybody get in? No?
We just want the good look. Not you, Lavone.
I need those who are smart and good looking. Huh?
Working, so I'm gonna have to make sure
Pardon?
my computer's
Oh,
not
okay.
working, so
So anyway, I want to tell you that
I can't get mine below.
she represented Guymon above and beyond at the Capitol. She came into I took her down on the floor, and she acted like she owned the place. She gave her a deal and got the pictures, and then everybody was going outside to get other pictures made, and her family, they took pictures there at the rotunda. And I had probably 5 different mayors that I know down there that came up, that have been long-term mayors, have been to these deals. And they all said that was the best one we've ever heard. That was the best one we ever heard. So it was an honor to have you in Oklahoma City, and an honor for you to represent Guymon. So we're going to go on with the meeting, and we can't. Oh, I'm going to let you read that deal. I forgot. Let's do that before I forget what I'm doing. So stand up there and belt her out.
If I were mayor by Yadalin Mesta, if I were mayor, I would create diverse job opportunities and build additional commercial entertainment businesses in order to attract people to relocate to Guymon. Guymon has a statutory council, which is a manager form of government, which means people elect the council. The council elects the mayor and the city manager. The council and the mayor have the same responsibilities, except the mayor is in charge of ceremonial procedures. Having more job opportunities is a key component in expanding small towns. Guymon's main employers are Seaboard, which is a pork plant, the local schools, PTCI, which is a telephone company, and TCEC, which works with electricity. With the lack of job diversity, building a resume is difficult and prevents people with different job skill sets from moving to and staying in Guymon. With more jobs and money coming in, that gives us more opportunities to expand commercially. My next priority is bringing in more commercial buildings like restaurants and entertainment facilities that would attract more people. In our small town, having places to socialize are scarce. Building more entertainment buildings would bring more people and tax money in. With the tax money we collect, we could use it to make the town better. Mayors have to know and do what's best for the towns. The right way to do that is by listening to your community. What's best for Guymon is expanding commercially and job-wise. Giving people more opportunities to work and expanding our businesses could bring more people to our charming small town. Thank you.
Well, she's going to stay up here as long as she wants to and hang out with us and watch the rest of the meeting. I must say that, you know, one of the reflections that was made and has been made most of the time when we do these deals and have the young folks show up, we've all got to remember that everything we do as a council, everything we do as elected folks, are for the future, and for the kids, for the grandkids. As T. Boone Pickett's put it quite well several years back, I'm too old to plant seeds, I've got to plant trees. So that's what we've got to do, and I've never met somebody in the 8th grade that has this much get up and go. I'm tickled to get to know her. So we're going to go on with the meeting. She's going to stay and as a representative for Guymon. So, agenda item number 4 is approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda item 4.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Sanchez. Aye. Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 5, discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 885. An ordinance amending Article 3, Section 2-51, the city clerk of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Guymon, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and declaring an emergency. The ordinance is attached, and I'll let Mr. Shannon explain.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next 2 items, number 5 and 6, address we're moving people around just a little bit. We want the finance director to be directly under the city manager, and this will take care of that. And that's the short version.
Any discussion? Questions?
I make a motion, we approve ordinance number 885, an ordinance amending Article 3, Section 2-51, Item 5.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvidrez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We have 5 ayes.
I make a motion, we declare Item 5 an emergency.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez. Aye. Alvidrez.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 6 is discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 886, an ordinance amending Article 5, Section 2-155, invoice payment procedures of the Code of the Ordinance of the City of Guymon, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and declaring an emergency. this.
There again, Mr. Mayor, just concluding what we did on number 5, but we still have the checks and balance systems, and they'll all be under the city manager. With
I disagreed with this when we passed it 4 years ago, and I disagree with it now, basically because if you read the handouts and the manuals that we were given when we go to our schools, when we first elected, it states right in there that the council is responsible for the financial decisions of the city. And to me, by doing this, we really have no purpose to be here. If we're gonna let everybody decide to approve invoices without us.
I think Councilman Swiger brings up a good point, and yes, checks and balances are in place. It all goes with the trust of the city manager put forth by the city council, but there does need to be more scrutiny on the spending of, because that's what we're here for. That's what the council's put in place for.
So would you like to table it or let it die for lack of a motion and then have maybe a discussion session? Or
That would be fine with me. Leave that up to everybody on the council. Decide what they want to do.
I'd kind of like to have public weigh-in from our legal counsel, if that's.
Well, can I just need to make one comment. Vice Mayor Swiger, I interpret this completely different, that once the invoices come in, everybody approves, you still have that final decision, as you did tonight. Is that,
They've already been paid. The invoices that we approved tonight have already been paid. I found 2 that was questionable in my opinion,
you did?
but they've already been paid. So
True.
it's, we've, so, and that's why I feel the way I do. It doesn't give us a chance to look at the invoices through the, we get them, but they're already paid, so it's kind of mute to go through them. And like I said, I found 2 that I really have questions about.
So on that same topic with getting an invoice, usually we get an invoice once we get the product, correct?
Correct.
So we already have that product, so it's not like we can say, okay, we're not gonna pay you when we already have the product in possession. So I think the point going forward would not be, okay, let's not pay our invoices because we already have that product. It's, okay, let's make sure whoever's gonna buy whatever is authorized to buy that.
But sometimes invoices are not products.
Sometimes
I mean, you
Yeah.
advertising, and things like that. There's things that aren't actual
Products, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. This is-
How efficient is the system that we've got in place that allows for
That's just what he's just,
the ordering
that's just what
and
he's
then
talking
the invoicing and the payment of invoicing? It's always difficult to have a team that's approving and getting things paid, especially when people want to be paid within 14 days or in 30 days. So you do need checks and balances, I agree, but is the department able to run efficiently and the city manager do the work that you're asking him to do if you're needing a whole council to approve what is happening on a day-to-day basis? I mean, how often do you call these approval meetings?
Yeah. Well, up until 4 years ago, the council had to approve all the invoices.
got a purchase order.
Yeah, purchase order.
To answer your question, Preacher, we used to have 2 meetings a month, and, we've had some turnover in the city manager position. And to be quite honest with you, when we got our interim, even before that, there was a period where we went to 1 meeting a month, and to tell you the truth, it's been pretty smooth. fairly smooth, and I don't know if the city manager agrees with me or not, but I think it's been pretty smooth.
I would say 98% of it I'd agree with. It's those one or two that seem to slip by that has already been paid, and then you don't really have any recourse.
Well, my only concern is that if you've got vendors who are
Okay,
providing
you
services
need
and products,
you need to come up to the podium if you want to talk.
my only concern is that if you've got vendors who are providing services or products, that they can be paid in a timely fashion. And my experience is that it's really awkward when you've got a council who's trying to approve those invoices and get them paid for, especially if they're only meeting once a month. So if you don't want the city manager to have that authority, you might have to step in and develop some kind of a finance team that approves these things before he actually then can authorize and get them paid for.
Yeah, I wasn't on the city council 4 years ago, but that's exactly one of the reasons what was brought up when this was changed, is that it was making it a lot easier on our staff and a lot more fluid for everyone that was involved in getting these things paid. Plus, when it comes to getting invoices from a lot of these suppliers and services, it's not done in a timely fashion, or it's done on different payment plans, or it's done with every single one of the invoices is sometimes a little bit different. So if I understand correctly, a lot of these changes in ordinances were to make things easier for everyone. The fact of the matter is none of it is like indiscretion. It's not like anybody's out there just frivolously throwing money away. Everything is within guidelines, everything has been approved within our budget, and every one of the department heads have to act within their guideline, within the guidelines that we set for them, which is what the budget is that we pass every year. So it's not like anybody's acting outside of their realm or their realm of responsibilities. I mean, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yes, some invoices, get done by the wayside, but, we're ran by humans, not robots.
That's the reason I was against going to one meeting a month too, because of the agenda item being twice a month instead of once.
Yes.
The invoices.
Mr. Shannon.
If I could just interject here, this ordinance, what we're doing tonight with what you're looking at on the screens before you, we're just amending, putting the finance department directly under the city manager. Nothing else changes.
So anything above our max expense, it still is gonna come to us first.
True.
So,
But the only thing is that, I want to point her out, Rhonda is under the city manager,
And that amount is $50,000.
$50,000.
And
And nothing else changes.
I guess one thing, I'll ask this on occasion when we've had maybe something that got paid that might not have been, or there was an error or something like that. What is there, if you call a vendor or somebody that, whoever it was that put the bill in, what's the response when you've had to
I
do
mean,
that?
they work with accounts payable. Now, Mr. Swigert, he brought up a couple of items. This is going to take a little bit of research. I wish I could do it tonight, but I'll do the research tomorrow. And those 4 items, I think it was, could be just miscoded, or there could be numerous things, probably less than $1,000. But I don't see the issue. The only thing we're doing is amending. We're putting the finance director directly underneath the city manager. She had been underneath the city clerk.
Okay.
We're just kind of, oops.
Okay. Any other discussion? Please? Motion?
And if she gets underneath the city manager, I can fully evaluate her without, I know what she does, basically. I'm not saying Lavona doesn't, but I'm more involved with the finance director than the city clerk is.
Okay, well, I definitely understand the concern Mr. Swigert has. I'm going to make a motion to approve ordinance number 886, an ordinance amending Article 5, Section 155, invoice payment procedure of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Guymon, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict wherewith, or herewith, and declaring an well, I can't do that yet.
Okay.
Before I say anything, I just want to ask, are we doing the exact same procedures right now, except for it's through Lavona and not through you?
Yes.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second.
Alvedras,
Aye.
Setzer,
Aye.
Swager,
Nay.
Sanchez,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes and 1 nay. Emergency.
Did you declare an emergency?
Yeah, I make a motion to declare an emergency.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Alvedras,
Aye.
Setzer,
Aye.
Sanchez,
Aye.
Swager,
Nay.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes and 1 nay.
Agenda item number 7 is discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 23-04, a resolution authorizing execution of a maintenance agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation by the City of Guymon for installation of traffic signals along U.S. Highway 54 from Main Street to 12th Street. Resolution and the maintenance agreement is attached. Mr. Chandler.
Council, this is something that ODOT does. I'm going to stop with that and say, in 2 days, there will be a contract let with the Department of Transportation that's going to be a completely redo Highway 54 through Guymon. And it's going to be all, I think they're bidding out all concrete, it'll be sidewalks and all kinds of stuff. What they'll do, they'll come in and put new street lights in. And of course, they don't want to take care of them, they want to maintain them. We've done it for years, and this is basically telling them that we're going to be maintaining them when they're there. There'll be the new versions with the sensors, some call them cameras, but they're sensors. We don't lay them in the roadbed, there'll be sensors up on the post.
In other words,
Let traffic,
it'll be lights we can get parts for.
right.
So if there's no car there, then it's not going to stay
That
red.
is correct.
And this is the light
And you won't
also
sit there
on
for
12th Street.
5 or 15 minutes waiting on nobody.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, discussion, motion?
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 23-04, resolution authorizing execution of a maintenance agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, City of Guymon, installation of traffic signals along US 54, Main Street to 12th, item 7.
Second.
Have a motion and a second?
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 8 is discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2305, a resolution authorizing execution of a maintenance agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation by the City of Guymon for installation of highway illumination along U.S. Highway 54 from South 5th Street northeast to Hurleman Street. Mr. Chandler, I think these are streetlights.
Streetlights. They will become ours, and we will be paying the bill for the electricity.
Is TCEC going to have a part in this? Do you know? If they're going, would it go to bid?
Yeah, it'll be included in the bid that's
Gotcha.
being let in 2
Gotcha.
days. I wish I could tell you the date they're gonna start construction, but we've already been in contact with a couple of the companies, and it seems like to me it's gonna probably start pretty quick.
Make 'em-
Just forewarn you, Highway 54 is gonna be a wreck for a while.
Well, it's already a wreck, so it's
Well,
not
Yeah,
going to better
won't be
wreck.
any worse than it is now.
Oh,
So,
Really wreck, yeah.
do we get to choose the decor, what this looks like? No? Okay. All right, well,
I'd like
Well, that's a
it
good
to
question.
match
That-
Maine,
that's
right?
definitely-
nice, yeah. But
But they have all their own standards.
Yeah.
I mean, but, why couldn't we?
right.
the
We're a little
lumens.
late now to get in the big bid package when they're opening them up in 2 days.
I know the illumination,
But still,
it going through other cities that have interstate and highway going through it, they look different with every city.
surely
you
they'll
go to.
match the ones on Main Street.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Hopefully.
I mean, I assume that they
Yeah.
would,
Yeah,
I would
hopefully.
think.
No green light or yellow light.
You don't want green light for Christmas?
No, like I've driven through some towns where the lights are like green or yellowish blue. Have you not? I don't like that.
Oh, the street lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the light itself.
I try to be home before it gets dark.
I think nowadays the standard's the new LEDs. So
Yeah, it should be the bright, so.
Any other discussion, questions, motion?
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 23-05, resolution authorizing execution of maintenance agreement with ODOT by the city of Guymon for installation highway illumination, item 8.
Second.
Have a motion and a second?
Swager.
Aye.
Setzer. Alvedras.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 9 is discussion and possible action to enter into a professional service agreement with Garver LLC to update the airport layout plan with aerial mapping for an amount not to exceed $148,261. Mr. Shannon, once more.
This is the consulting engineers for the Guymon Municipal Airport. There's a lot of rules and regulations, especially when you're dealing with the federal FAA and the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission. They make you go out for bid every 5 years to appoint your consultants. You pretty well have to follow the rules before you capitalize on the money, like you capitalized $4.9 million on the new runway. They have some, so they make you come in and do an airport layout plan. We're starting for something, again, I mean, we constantly have money coming in from both those entities, so this is their last year. We'll go out for bid in probably 2024 for another company, but Garver has done an exceptional job for us. They know airports, they're connected well with the FAA, and I don't think we've had any problems, so.
Any discussion, questions, motion?
I agree, there's been a good relationship with Garver. They did an excellent job out there.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we enter into professional services agreement with Garver LLC to update the airport layout plan, aerial mapping for the amount not to exceed $148,261, item 9.
Second.
Have a motion and a second?
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 10 is discussion and possible action to approve order of determination for Park Addition lots 19 to 20, B32, AKA also known as 211 South Beaver Street. And our code enforcement people are here to explain it. So it's all yours.
Thank you. So I will give you a background on it. We took this to we did a hearing. There was no show on the hearing. We've been trying to contact the owners, because of the property. The papers were removed from the door, but no one showed up to the hearing, and we have not been contacted as of yet. So we would like to do the order of termination and start on bids, and the estimated cost for the work would be about $3,000. And I went by today, they had an awning that kind of flew off, and now it's beside the property, so that's why it's so high, because there's just a lot of mess on the property. So it looks like the estimated dates, if everything were to get approved, to get the work done would be the 12th through the 16th of April. Anybody has any questions?
Same procedure, same method we go through with anything that we do of this nature, correct?
Sir.
Well, I just want to take the time to say thank you for doing this, because it's like every month you got like a whole slew of things for us to vote on, and it's little by little cleaning up the city, and that's exactly what every one of my constituents want to see. So,
And we make sure that we give them enough chances to come in and try to do an agreement to like help them out, try to find some volunteers for them and everything, but can't help someone that can't help themselves.
I also want to mention that you also still do coffee with code enforcement, or
We're
has,
trying to come up with a new one, but it's still in the works, but I'll let you guys know.
all right, cool.
Any discussion, questions, motion?
I make a motion that we approve order of determination for Park L 19-20B32, AKA 211 South Beaver Street, item 10.
second.
Have a motion and a second?
Sanchez.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 11 is discussion and possible action on awarding bid for weed and trash abatement at 117 Northeast Street to JRC Construction. The notices in the packets attached. Would you like to add anything, or?
Yeah, as you guys can see, you guys approved it on December 13th for us to go out for bids. We did the whole process and we finally have a bid and everything is, I think I have attached it with JRC. He is a business, he has a business license here with the city. He has certificate of liability that we need. And he is also here if you guys have any questions for him.
Any questions? Motion?
I'll make a motion that we award bid for weed and trash abatement at 117 Northeast to JRC Construction, item 11.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Thank
Agenda
you.
item number 12 is discussion and possible action to approve payment for 50 new and unused golf carts and 5 new and unused haulers to Easy Go, purchased on the state contract for an amount not to exceed $344,293.39. Proposal is attached. You want to Would you like to update us? I think we decided several years ago to get in a rotating basis with golf carts, so they would always be in warranty.
Yeah, we're about a year out of that, but because of the supply chain issue, but we also took advantage of that. You'll see the 344,000, that's the total price, but the need for used golf carts was what sold this deal. So they're in item number 16. We need to do a budget transfer, but basically 50 carts will cost the city $177,000 plus the trade-ins. So it's
Pretty good deal.
no-brainer.
It's a really good deal.
And we got, extended warranty on the brand new ones, and we didn't get windshields on, but that's another little story, but we got windshields on now, so. Good grief.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions? Are they gas or electric?
Yes. Really quiet, really nice.
Fuel injected,
Fuel injected.
and the motors, you're supposed to change the oil every 2 years.
I just wanted to put that in there.
And that's part of a maintenance agreement with.
Correct, yes, sir.
Do I have a motion?
Before we go on this, I don't know if the council remembers, 8 years ago, we were left with maybe possibly 20 good carts out there. So that's why this rotation, I think, started. And I thank the city manager for going and doing this and getting this going again. But I think in the long run, it saves the city money by rotating those out. It just, to me, it's a no-brainer.
I might just make one more comment. It would be it's the staff out the golf course. Good grief. Those guys know the deal. They know the suppliers. So yeah, it's the guys out there. They're a good group of guys out there.
Good. I want to make a motion that we approve payment of 50 new and unused golf carts, 5 new and unused haulers, Easy Go purchased on the state contract, not to exceed $344,293.39. Item 12.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 13 is discussion and possible action to approve funding for the Oklahoma Arts Council 2023 leadership class in the amount of $2,500 as recommended by the Arts and Humanities Commission. Reports there, and I believe that's going to help fund their coming to Guymon.
Yes, yes.
So,
When their some come out last week or 2 weeks ago?
The staff came out to.
Kind of give a
talk
pre-
about funding, and so we could meet about setting this up.
so they will have their part of the convention in Guymon.
Yeah. What was the report, Melinda? Oh, really? Tell us what.
They love us out here. I was a graduating member of this back in 2015, I believe it was. And every one of my classmates, was it 16? Every one of my classmates have made it back out here since then. On their own vacation, because they loved everything that was out here. They've told everybody about it. And we're not talking about just some artists from Oklahoma City. We're talking about community leaders that are also in this arts program throughout the state that are coming out here. They have to, because it's part of their class. And then reporting back to their communities about the great things that they see out here. And they also go out to the Black Mesa, and it's a pretty cool deal. And they're very excited about being out here. And usually cities are on a rotation of like 10, 15 years. They were just out here in 2016, so they want to come back already again. And that's from, what, 3 years of not having it because of COVID and everything. They kind of discontinued the program, so it's a cool deal. It's a pretty big deal for us.
And Guymon's session in 2016 had the highest evaluation of any session that we had.
Okay. So, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to fund the Arts Council 2023 leadership class to the amount of $2,500 as recommended by the Arts and Humanities Commission.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 14 is discussion and possible action to approve funding for Panhandle Services for Children's Graffiti Art Competition in the amount of $1,562 as recommended by the Guymon Area Arts and Humanities Commission.
Yeah, this is
Do you want to update us on that?
This was a really cool program that Panhandle Services for Children came to us with, and they have some very talented artists in their midst, and they want to do some graffiti, but not the illegal kind. They want to do some good graffiti, and we have a building out here that we would like to have them use, and so the idea is to have an awesome artistic competition. And then their art is on display, and then maybe after about 10 years, do it again.
And this will be open to not just those kids, but for about anybody wants to get in.
Correct.
I'm sorry I didn't sit up front there.
Do you guys already have like various locations for the art?
Right now, this location for this particular project is going to be on the building behind here, on the side of the building that faces west.
Yeah, the garage.
Oh,
The
east.
garage.
Yeah, on
The
the side
garage,
of the
not
garage.
City Hall.
Yeah,
Where the-
yeah. That's,
It needs to be painted, needs to be painted anyway.
Let's not.
not City Hall.
Who knows?
If it's that
It just might get tagged tonight.
Bite your tongue.
Any discussion, questions, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve funding for the Panhandle Services for Children's Art Graffiti Art Competition, the amount of $1,562 is recommended by the Guymon Area Arts and Humanities Commission.
Second.
Before I say we've got a motion second, I want to add one thing. I'm a big fan of public art. A lot of places I go, I think it's a very, very part, and we started that in Guymon with the wraps on the turn signal boxes. And some of those are going to go away, so we may need to figure out something there. We have a motion and a second.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
They will not go away. We have some stockpiled over. We don't throw those away on the controls. We keep those, so.
We better, because we might need parts in 20 years. Agenda item number 15 is discussion and possible action to approve funding for Guymon Area Arts and Humanities Commission Mardi Gras event in the amount of $5,000 is recommended by the Arts and Humanities Commission. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure, I'll talk about that one too. Last year was the first year we ever did it, and it was pretty successful. We had quite a few people attend throughout the day. It's kind of an all-day event. Virgil Gibson is the one cooking the crawfish, and it's a heck of an ordeal. We have a legitimate Cajun, one of our members' fathers who's legitimately from Louisiana, and so he approves of it. And then we have this band, Voodoo Child, which is essentially a local band from Amarillo. They came out and they blew everybody's minds. And a lot of the guys from Lightner Energy and some of the other energy companies have hired them again to come back and do this and perform for other events. And last year they were very thrilled to have this event happening in Guymon. And it gave them, our workers in town, something to do. It gave our community members something to do. And we have a lot of volunteers stepping up to help with this again this year. I think the rodeo community has backed it 100% over there at OPSU. So all in all, it's a pretty great little community event. I can't even start to tell you about the numbers that it's bringing in. But we do have a report from last year, if you guys would like to talk about.
So do you have something you'd like to add? So I have something I'd like to add. If you'll come up to the podium, we'll.
Good evening. How are you all tonight? Thank
Okay,
you so much.
could you all tell Lavona your name so she's, to make sure her minutes are
So
right?
I'm not on the city council, sorry, I'm not on the Arts and Humanities Board anymore, but how come up there? These two girls.
I'm gonna say my maiden name to understand what we're talking about. My name is Layla Bear Flowers.
My name is Kelsey Allen. My name is Macy Musa.
Okay. What would you like to?
So last year we had this event, and we wanted to have an event where I was serving on Arts and Humanities Board that was geared more towards adults and people in the community without children. We have Layla and her husband, Michael Flowers, that are from Louisiana area, and they brought up this event that was more community building for adults. We had local businesses donate things to give out to people. We happened to have a lot of Blackner employees that showed up that, made a lot of good hotel motel tax off them. They had a time of their lives. We met a lot of people. I've learned a lot. We had Steve Tuttle eat crawfish for the first time. We all helped him. We had rodeo kids from near and far that have never experienced crawfish also have part of the experience. We used as many local people as possible. We have Kat Warren baking the cupcakes this year lined up. Virgil Gibson. We have, like you said, local Touching Voodoo, which was a really good turnout. They really do a lot of great covers, and I think that she could probably tell you a little bit more about Mardi Gras and, community building, and I think that it really made a lot of good connections with everyone within the community.
Everyone has seen Mardi Gras on TV and stuff in Louisiana. My family's from Deer Park. Small people. Tori Landry is my cousin. Not that. It's a time where people get together and have fun. Once the adults sit down, eat food, something different that you cannot get anyplace else. And it's just time to have fun and enjoy some good music, good food, talking. Yeah, it's gonna, some people do train fixes. It is Mardi Gras in Louisiana, but the major is have fun with something to do that I create something different culture to go. And also for adults, where the adults can have fun for something. Have a babysitter, kids at home, and just go out and have fun. It's all day, take what time you want to come. Enjoy yourself. I think it's really good. Last year, everyone was just crazy. My parents were back here at government, and last year I actually did a video. My dad was giving thumbs up. It was great, believe it. And so now he's here, and he's pretty excited about it, and I told everyone about it. Hopefully, we have a bigger turnout than we did last year. That was the goal.
We did have Blackner and even some rodeo kids write thank you cards. I haven't been able to locate them, but I thought that was so nice to have such a big impact that they wrote to the city thanking them for an event like this. I'm just really proud to be able to serve our community in a unique way to where it's something a little unusual but still enjoyed by all.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Ms. Shannon?
Mr. Mayor, we did have a question arise on this funding, and Mr.
We're going to take a little recess. The honorable mayor is leaving.
Okay.
To go to ball games. Okay.
Yeah, it scared you for a minute. Yeah, we'll get back on a roll here. We had a question arise by one of the council members, so, and just for everybody's information, when I do have a concern from a council member, and it's a legal concern, so I immediately drafted an email, sent it over to Mr. Petty. Unbeknown, that was 2 weeks ago, or week and a half ago. Apparently Mr. Petty is out, and I've not had a reply. His associate showed up here about 5 minutes before. I asked him, and I'm gonna let you on that decision about where we're at on this issue.
Thank you. The question that was presented to Mr. Petty was whether this event could potentially have the city liable for an age discrimination lawsuit. This particular event is in particularly targeting residents 21 and over. And so the question presented was, could a concerned citizen present a lawsuit on behalf of those that are not 21 and over? And Mr. Petty has concluded that the city could be liable for an age discrimination lawsuit if this event is held.
Now, going back to the meeting, and I appreciate Mr. and Mrs. Flowers, I mean, they did a magnificent job, and we talked about the 21 and over, if I could just put it that way, during that meeting. And if you'll help me out a little bit, because we wanted somebody to do some face painting, we wanted kids to get their, we talked about this, yeah. But like I said, the question arose, and that's just what city managers do. They carry the message around a little bit until it shakes loose on a decision or not, so. But as the city attorney just said, he recommended, it's his opinion, that we could be open for a liability.
Well, let's also talk about the other events where we're also open to liabilities, like things that target just children, and our painting things that we've had down here at the art gallery, or the fact that we fund things to help with the rodeo. You know, I'm not a cowboy, so I'm going to sue. Yeah, we're open to a lot of lawsuits with a lot of different things that we do. The potential for a lawsuit is probably prevalent everywhere throughout the, you know, every step of government that we go through. So I just want to put those 2 cents out there.
So we did.
Okay, time out. If you want to talk, you need to be recognized. Come up here.
Can I talk before you, Shelby? Before you go in? One of my questions would be, are we going to exclude them completely, the youth, or they're allowed to go, like, to eat crawfish, you know, and the face painting, they're able to go. Obviously they're not going to drink alcohol, but they're not going to be 100% excluded just to the events that they're going to be allowed to. So, like, where would your event take place, or where does it take place?
Just off the top of my head, if we have to, we did run it through the city asking if they were going to pay out of pocket or if they'd like to reimburse Bob. So that is a way to lessen the liability for the city. I think that Bob would be willing to be reimbursed for that event. I would have to approve it, yada, yada. If needed, we do have an event, Go Roping, where we allow kids and underage college kids to come out to the parking lot, and we rope off the parking lot, and that is not, you know, a part of the bar. It is in a private event that is, you know, welcome to the public. So that is something that we can do in the future. Like Josh said earlier, though, we do have events all the time that is geared towards just children. So I'd hate to see my 94-year-old grandma strike a lawsuit against the city over age discrimination. I think that's always on the table with every event we do. So
I don't believe we can fund a private business.
We're not. So you're right, we can, but we're not.
Well, and Shelby, I want to correct you, you did say about if we just invoice Bob's, but once the commission or the board, that's their project, so, yeah.
I mean, that's what we did last year. I believe
Right.
we were reimbursed, and we were happy to work alongside them and make sure your guys' logo.
But you had kids there last year, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
Were there children there last year?
No, we did not have children there last year.
No, and we funded this last year, FYI,
Yeah.
newsflash. So we're already liable for a lawsuit.
I mean, yeah, so, I mean, I
Good
would
point.
just like to move it of course.
But then again, 2 wrongs don't make a right, so.
So, I mean, you
And
can
I don't-
have it out in the parking lot, allow children and say anyone's there, if that's the case, then I think that's something that we can do. And we still have plenty of time to still market the event, to have face painting show up and do an earlier dinner for those kids. At a certain time though, you know, evening does go on, it is gonna get cold out. So I don't think that we'd have a problem with the group moving it to an early
afternoon or two-part event if we need to include children, or let that be open to the public to allow children to come.
I just might make a comment on Mr. Sawyer's, this is not a private event, it is a city event.
Yeah. Pardon me, I might have said, we have roped off Bob's Bar in the past for private events, so I don't see a reason why we couldn't rope off Bob's Bar and have, clearly a children's section.
And it was a concern at the meeting. I took it, you were there. And so.
I would love to see the whole town involved in it and have a Mardi Gras parade one year. I think that this is getting the ball rolling.
That would be
hopefully
perfect.
leading down to building it up every year. Last year we had a smaller budget to work with. This year we're hoping for a higher turnout. I would only like to think that more businesses could once be involved and have the arts and humanities parades and things like that, to where we can have our community celebrate in that aspect.
Yeah, those
Celebrate a
conversations,
cultural event.
those conversations are well documented in our minutes.
So in other words, any business can come to Arts and Humanities and ask for funding.
If they want to have an event, yeah, 100%.
So,
With alcohol,
so that's like the 4B
That's the
Fest.
case.
the city can't be involved with alcohol.
The city's already been involved with alcohol
Okay.
so many times.
This, we're gonna take the
We're going to stop
discussion.
serving beer at Pioneer Days?
Okay.
Yeah.
Time
We're
out,
not
time
involved
out,
with
everybody.
It's changed.
Okay, we're down to discussion amongst the council. Thank you, Ms. Green.
Okay.
I've always been told that you take your advice of your attorney. Because that's what we pay him for. And he always, I know Mr. Petty's always said that it's
Well, let's not
easier-
put words in his mouth. He didn't advise us not to have this. He only stated that we are open to a liability lawsuit, which
What was his
we
other
are
comment?
every day.
What was his other comment that he told me? Alcohol,
The city attorney cannot give that kind of advice or that kind of
No.
conclusion to the city council.
is just his recommendation. And, and Mr. Petty's always said it's easier to keep us out of the courthouse than once we get in, we're in trouble.
I just think it's a little peculiar that we're not even blinking an eye when it comes to funding Pioneer Days.
We give the money to the chamber.
Regardless, we don't blink an eye. We don't ask questions. We do nothing, but we just pass the bill every single time.
Any other comments, any other discussion?
I just want to make note that I think it would be great for Arts and Humanities to maybe start early and offer like the crawfish feed and face painting or whatever for the youth. Obviously, I'm not going to take my kid past 9 o'clock outside Bob's Bar, But I mean, it is a cultural experience that is unique. And for me to experience that with myself or with my family, I would have to travel to Louisiana. Is that correct, Layla? Because nowhere in the United States that I know of, at least, does Mardi Gras.
Well, Red River has some,
Trying to get tourism to something else.
but I'm saying there's kids, I've been to functions like that, Red River to be one, narrow it down, there's kids everywhere, and sporting events, all kinds of events, there's alcohol everywhere you go, but I understand Larry's point of the city funding that, but at some point, we need to give convention and tourism a chance to get more people in,
To get
to
tourism.
get more events going. Those are good for the city. They leave a good footprint.
And the other thing, the more events that we have, not just geared toward anybody basically, but the more events we have, the more likely people are going to stay in Guymon and spend money in Guymon, and that is what we need.
How was Bob's chosen to hold the event?
When we were looking for places to have some sort of a Mardi Gras event, they came to us.
We can't have it at the activity center because it's alcohol-free.
What do you have?
Well, can I weigh in? You're right, Bob, it's just the venue. It's just a place to have this facility, and that's just a fact. So I just want to put that forward. It could be held here at City Hall, or it could be held
At the Bloom next door.
at next door. But,
But it's well documented in our minutes that the conversation's always been to grow a Mardi Gras event, not just to have something at Bob's every year, but to make sure that we have a whole total city, totally encompassing everyone, to have a Mardi Gras event, especially this time of the year, because there's really nothing going on this time of the year. And for someone that's planned a lot of events or helped plan a lot of events in the city, it's hard to find a time of the year that isn't overlapping with somebody else. So that's why this time of the year was chosen. That venue happened to be open. It just fell together. And when you're putting an event like that, you take what you get, and that's what we got.
Is there any charge for the bill? Do you charge somebody, I mean,
No.
no? Any other sponsors besides the city?
I don't believe so, no.
Have you gone out
Well-
to
The city
get
of
any?
Bob's, they're paying the difference too. I mean, they're bringing some money to the table. Of course, they're hosting at their venue and not charging.
Yeah, I didn't want to speak out of turn, but I believe Blanger had some ideas with
Bonner
donating
came back and
as
they
well.
actually said that they were gonna be staying in town longer because they could stay in Guymon and have more things to do than go to a smaller town in Texas and be closer to their job site due to our Mardi Gras party.
Have you approached any other businesses or anybody for?
I would love to see the Arts and Humanities Board expand this event to other businesses, maybe host a parade and kind of have the momentum going.
No, I mean, have you,
For funding.
for funding, have you approached anybody else for
No, this is the Arts and
funding?
Humanities Board venture. This is something that the board created and they reached out to Bob and we're working with them.
So you haven't approached
I'm not-
TCEC or anybody, or Panhandle Telephone or anybody for funding?
We know people that are very much, but Larry, come on, I mean, we know that they're asked by everybody all the time. And our commission's given $15,000 by this very council to do something with that money. And we get to see fit what happens with that money, and then we send it to you guys to get it approved. And so that was the idea. And so here we are.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve funding for the Guymon Area Arts and Humanities Commission for Mardi Gras event in the amount of $5,000 as recommended by the Arts and Humanities Commission.
You gonna make any amendments to that? To allow for children or anything?
I
But
think that's something.
I don't know that you legally can.
I'm definitely willing to allow, to get Bob so we can have that road off for kids to come out if we need to, if that's something that doesn't need to be a business. It's not on this right here, but I think that's something we can do. Absolutely.
I don't
Can I
know.
make a correction there? She can't represent the city. This is this is a city board that made that recommendation. Now, that board would probably have to go back and make a recommendation for to let kids in. That's why I brought up, we talked about that during the board meeting.
Can we table it?
Well, I think,
So we can't table it because we do need to have.
you can table it,
I mean,
yes.
yeah, you can, but this is if probably won't be able to happen this year. I'd love to see in the future to have other
Sure.
events allow children. Just to let you guys know.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
About second.
Do I have a second? It appears that the motion dies for lack of a second. We will move forward. Agenda item number 16 is discussion and possible action to approve budget amendment number 1 to the golf fund, fund number 10, for an increase of $177,500.
Mr. Mayor, this is, said tied back to the golf course. We're gonna have to transfer $177,500 to pay the balance on
As you stated.
My name is Jesse Diaz. I will be running for city council. During this campaign, I've been engaged with a lot of citizens, a lot of voters. The one thing that constantly came up was the golf fund. If you can remind us, what is the base salary as it is right now? Do you know that number?
Okay, just a second. I didn't see you there, but what is the purpose of your interjection?
We're talking about the golf fund, right? The 177 to increase it. But what is it now? The budget?
This, this is a budget amendment that allows us to buy new golf carts, and it is basically a accounting in-house thing that we go through with them. This doesn't increase or decrease the budget.
But we're talking about the 50 golf carts, right? And all that is included. Is that what you're saying?
We've always had golf carts.
No, I understand that. But you increased it, where you spent 350 right now for 50 golf carts, correct? And then this is taken away, that's what I don't understand. The 50 that were up.
We'll let you explain this, Mr.
Okay.
Shannon.
Is that, am I
Mr.
real
Diaz.
confused there?
Okay.
What I'm saying is the 350 that were.
There was budgeted amount in the budget. We needed to come up with $177,500 from the general fund to pay off our balance of that. And that's what we do. State law says I can, as a city manager, take it out of Fund 48, which is where we put the money, and stick it in there without the council support.
Correct. And then from that, what I'm confused about is the 350 to begin with.
You got me confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because that's what I was, at the beginning, I didn't understand. That 350 was gonna go for golf carts, correct?
Correct.
And then this 177 is going from where?
It's coming from the fund, from Fund 48, what we call Fund 48. And basically, it's what it is, we're moving the money that we got from the old used golf carts over, so we can add to that, pay the $355,000.
That's the part I was confused about.
Yeah, we got paid $177,000 for the old golf carts.
Correct.
And we got to officially make an agenda item to move that money.
Okay, that's the part
Into the
I
golf.
wasn't clear about, is that's what profit, I guess what you're saying. The ones that-
Well, I mean, not a profit,
No,
but
no,
we
that's what
we sold at the right time.
Right, yeah, and then that's what, so you're just being approved to move that 177.
Correct.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Good question.
Thanks, Steve.
I make a motion that we approve budget item number 1 to the golf fund in the amount of $177,500, item 16.
Second.
Have a motion in 2 seconds.
Swager,
Aye.
Setzer, Alvedras.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
All right. Agenda item number 17 is a discussion and possible action to approve budget amendment number 1 to the Guymon Development Fund for Fund 16 for an increase of $28,498.
Mr. Mayor, we had some expenditures on the Nash Soccer Complex adding up to that, and we didn't have it budgeted for last year. And so we didn't think we were going to spend any money, I guess. We run over $28,498. It's just supply and maintenance. I wrote that down. Just the recreational. We bought some nets and some other issues, things that we needed out there, so $28,000.
Okay. Any questions? Motion?
I'll motion to approve agenda item number 17, approve budget amendment number 1 to the Guymon Development Fund, Fund 16, for an increase of $28,498.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager,
Aye.
Setzer,
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 18 is discussion and possible action to approve budget amendment number 1 to the sales tax, GUA CIF Fund number 48, for an increase of $658.
There again, we did not, we came real close to budget. We went $658 over, so bring some more to zero that out. That's pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve budget amendment number 1 to the sales tax, GUA CIF Fund 48 for an increase of $658.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Okay, agenda item number 19 is discussion and possible action to authorize the city manager to advertise for bids for the golf course irrigation system.
Have we got the design?
Oh, the designs that have been approved. This is probably, what, 3 years? 4 probably?
5.
Okay, 5?
I'll go for 6.
Thanks again to the Nash Foundation. Without the Nash Foundation, we wouldn't be, and people tend to forget this is about water conservation. Water conservation out here, like the mayor put it, if we don't have water out here, we're migrating, we're going somewhere else. Water conservation is a big part of this, and I know that city resources have applied for more grants. Correct me on the percentage of the total project that's been donated. What's been donated for the actual irrigation?
I'd rather tell you, if the bids come in like we predicted, out of the $1.4 million, we'll probably end up city budgeted out about $500,000.
So that's really good, and that's not counting if we win that grant that we went out for.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't count that until it's
in
the bank.
Right. So this is all part of the water conservation. I tell you what, this is something that the council has been working on, and it's been kind of a project of mine. So, and I stand behind it.
Hi, Jesse.
Okay, just a second, if you mind. You need to kind of let us know you're coming up. So I'm gonna give you a short, about a minute to say what you want to say.
Okay. Less than that. The golf one. I mean, I understand what you're saying, conversation. It's to save the water. I understand all that. But that has sucked down a lot of the city's money. I mean, and like you said, it is a project of yours. I understand that. But over the past 3 years, can anybody figure out throw out a number of how much that golf course has cost the city?
Well, it's a city amenity, so it's like a park, we have to take care of it. And if we lose it, then we lose even more money. If we don't take care of it, we lose even more money. And not only does it attract people to our city, but it keeps people in our city.
Well,
and people that work at your place of business use it often.
No.
Yes.
I disagree with that.
Every other person I golf with works the Seaboard.
All right, all right.
I have.
And talk to all your bosses, the guys that write your paychecks, they definitely use the golf
No,
course.
they don't. They do not.
Okay.
And that's the problem. They don't use it, but they foot the bill. That's how they feel.
Your
Jesse,
bosses live in Kansas City.
Mr. Diaz, I don't know where you play, or I mean, there's a lot of Seaboard memberships out there. It's a corporation membership, so I don't know where you're getting these numbers.
We don't have the time. I'm telling you what they tell me. They don't have the time. They don't have the luxury. Single moms don't go out there and play golf. Single moms need roads. Single moms need this. They don't use golf.
Well, I understand that.
I'm not sure where. There's more than just men out there that play golf.
Yeah, there's junior golf, there's women's scrambles, there's men's scrambles.
What I'm saying is there's other money. That money should go other places. That money should definitely be going other places.
So you'd rather lose a resource valued at millions of dollars to just see it go away?
No. If you're asking them to do some kind of funding, maybe you guys should do some kind of funding. You do some sponsors. If you're asking her to do it, I think you guys should do it.
Okay, it's time out. Part of this, the start of this process was that the Nash Foundation gave us a grant, was $500,000. So we've already, that's the starting point. We have an application in for USDA recreation grant, is that not right? Right? This has been on the burner or in the works for 6 years. So we're down to the point that all the work beforehand is going on. Our discussion tonight is whether to go out for bids for everything that's been approved through the committees, the golf board, everybody else. So that's where we're at.
No, I understand. More money.
So you're against it?
But what I'm saying is, the people that I come in contact with, that I get engaged with, want other things prioritized in the golf course. You guys don't throw out that number that you guys have been spending out there. Past 2-3 years. Millions out there.
Well, then,
Could have went to
if you're
streets,
paying,
could have went to roads. Could have went to the.
Okay.
Right,
All right.
if you're paying attention to what we do, then you would see that we do have other priorities in the golf course. Just this happens to be an item that we have to deal with. Okay, so our priorities are water and the, you know, life and making sure that the city is running properly.
Isn't the thing we need.
The golf course is very low on our
Okay.
priorities. It's just something we have to take care of.
Hold it, everybody hold it. I'm gonna call the halt to this deal. We've turned into a debate and a discussion. We don't do that here. This meeting is not an open forum, so thank you for your
Well, I thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor, could I say something?
You can.
Jesse, I walk him into the office, I mean, you've come in there before, I walk him in anytime, I'll show you where the money's at and how much, and, yeah, we can go from there.
It was more
Thank
of
you.
what the people want as opposed to
Okay, going on.
you guys.
So Mr., where were we at?
I make a motion that we authorize the city manager to advertise for bids for the golf course irrigation system, item 19.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 20 is discussion and possible action to appoint liaisons to the boards and commissions.
Mr. Mayor, as
What?
Jim, I'd like to have this tabled because you're going to be getting at least one new councilman in 2 months, and I think it'd be fair to them to be able to put in their input on the boards and commissions. That's just my opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to give Mike a little bit of flexibility
Okay, I'm
so he
sorry.
can explain.
Yeah.
I found out doing some research, and I want to compliment my staff. We've been building a rule book, to say it better. We found out, and even back when I was here before, there should have been a list given to the city council showing the liaison member from staff that would be appointed to, like, the Convention and Tourism, the Arts Council, the Cemetery Board, and all the different boards.
Okay.
And that, I don't think has ever been done, that I can recollect. What I'd like to do is keep it simple. I'm kind of one of those guys. And it also says in all those ordinances, the city manager or his designee. This is what I was wanting to do tonight to satisfy that criteria, is that just the city manager be appointed the liaison member to all the boards and commissions. Now, I don't have time to do all that stuff, but like city managers can do, they can delegate staff members to carry that on, so.
So you really want us to say, make a motion to appoint
Me,
the city manager or his designate?
just the city manager,
Just the city
and he can
manager,
take it from
okay.
there.
Well, I-
And he will designate
Okay,
who he feels is competent enough to
Okay.
do that.
well, I'll make a motion that we approve the city manager to appoint liaisons to the board and commission.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Setzer.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item number 21 is discussion and possible action to appoint a council member to the Convention and Tourism Board for the term ending in 2025. We amended resolution sometime back to have a council member serve on it. So we're just going to try to make that appointment.
I make a motion that we approve Josh Stetzer.
I
to the
second.
Convention and Tourism Board, term ending 2025.
Okay, have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Setzer.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Sanchez.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Agenda item number 22 is discussion and possible action to nominate up to 2 candidates from the Guymon for three-year term to the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Corp Group, OMAG, Board of Trustees, commencing on July 1st, 2023. It's a nomination deal, then the folks that we nominate would go into a statewide election. So if anybody wants to be on the OMAG board, raise your hand.
Not aye.
expenses paid. Do I have any interest from?
Well,
any-
I might explain, it's kind of like what we deal with out here, like the TCEC or PTCI. OMAG is kind of like a group like that, and they look for people to serve on their board. It's kind of like a cooperative. So.
It's municipal assurance, it's a trust for the municipal.
And it's a long way down there to those meetings.
Okay, going once.
I want to say something before we do not or do or whatever. I think it's a great opportunity for Guymon to stay involved with people downstate.
You want to do it, huh?
I do not want to do it.
Well, you know, so, okay, so,
Well, you are right.
Yeah.
I think there's better places to be strategically located than the old man.
I know the mayor, sorry to include you in this, makes countless trips down there over all these years that I have served. I can't even begin to explain how many trips he's made down there, serving as president of the mayor board and being involved with everything. It's just, it takes a lot of time. And it's good to have people like
I'm
that.
not gonna run for OMAG board, I did that once.
Well, that's what I was trying to
That
get.
was my next question, is when's the last time we had someone from Guymon on
It's been a while, the OMAG is our state, is the insurance. And I know, I couldn't tell you if we've had one or where. There's 5 for the whole state, 486.
I think, Mr. Dunham, I think we,
No, he wasn't on OMAG.
well, I think
He was on OMRF.
okay.
I think so. We'll check on it.
Okay, no takers, so we'll move on. Agenda item number 23, reports from committees, council members, and city manager. Mr. Shannon.
There you go. Councilman Josh, you have a meeting Thursday night.
Yeah. My next question.
It'll be good. It'll be good. I'm gonna run down a couple of little things here. Code enforcement, we appreciate them again. Did they take off? I don't blame them. Chad, hi. As you see before you, they've got a lot of cases out there working right now. And it's nice to look out and see these numbers. I mean, cases closed, they've closed over 800 cases. 800 cases, that's a ton. So these are the people that are making the difference out there. And it's causing some ripples, but it's hard for somebody to come in and tell you you're doing something wrong. But I will compliment Chad and his staff. They do it in a way that probably 90% of the people are understanding. So Chad, thank you for all your time out there. Your second page, and all these will be available to the public, is our police. You'll see the police have been kind of busy this month. They've had over 290 traffic stops and DUIs and stuff like that, but they've been rather busy. The building permits, things are happening. Things are happening in Guymon. The commercial building permits were 12 issued. Commercial electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, there's about 10 of those issued. Residential building, general work on residential properties, that's just, people fixing this, fixing that, adding a room or something like that. That's right at 33 for this last month. There's a lot that's good signs that the community is getting things done. Every time you see a building permit issued, there's sales tax being generated. So there's a lot going on in this little town at this time.
Can I ask you a question on?
Certainly. Certainly.
Where do we stand the permits as far as the bowling alley and that?
Good question. Bowling alley, the new one, I probably have the same answer you do. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. We met with those gentlemen about a month ago, and they're still trying to secure funding for the rest of their project.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Is that
Yeah, it's still a go as far as we know.
right? But I hadn't heard anything. Sheila, have you heard anything from the economic development side? Yeah. I see we got Chief. I'd rather you get up and talk about your fire department. Or you want me to? Or are you tired? Okay, great.
Been busy.
These guys, well, after today, thank you. Thank you and your department. All of our guys got home safe after the big windstorm and the horrific accident. So all of our guys are home in station and all's good. Wonderful. They're still doing a lot of runs. You'll see there that these guys are busy. I could go the whole report. He gives a very lengthy report, but I just want you to pay close attention. We've opened up our ambulance service to help surrounding communities. Texoma, excuse me. Volunteers. Volunteers is getting to be a word that you don't hear much of. And unfortunately, they can't get enough volunteers around the Texoma community. So Guymon being the kind of the bigger brother, we stood up, and we're covering Texoma's runs right now. Goodwill's still in service, but they have limited resources, so they don't feel like they could provide to Texoma. So temporarily, and we're working on ways to try to help Texoma get situated. So if you get in a bind or need medical assistance, they do have first responders to Texoma, and by the time our guys get there, hopefully everything turns out great. So, and I want to thank Grant. I was gone or something like that when all that kind of come together, and the mayor too. Thank you for help getting that started. I appreciate that. Next thing, we still have a lot of jobs opening. Gas and water, Tracy, yeah, you still need some good guys, good people. There's been 3 new jobs not created, but yeah, I say created. The assistant city manager, that started advertising about 2 weeks ago. And to get somebody in, to get them trained. Recreational director, we put out some feelers for a recreational director. Trying to get somebody into town that would take advantage of some of our facilities. When I say take advantage of them, manage them, keep them busy. Nash Soccer Complex, the swimming pool, everything that the city owns. We're going to try to get some resumes and review that. We thought we had a third-party company. They just fell off the face of the earth that would come in here and do that. So we're going to open it up and see if we could get us a recreational director hired. The third thing we've opened up is regulatory compliance director. Believe it or not, the city of Guymon has gotten to the point that we follow more rules and more regulations from the state. I was about to say the city, but I guess we do have to follow our own rules. And the federal government has handed down more stuff and rules and regulation, and it warrants to have one person. So if you know somebody with some type of that likes to do a lot of reading, a lot of traveling, and we're looking for that right person. The search for water is still, it's moving. We met all last week. I'm hoping by next month we'll have a presentation on the timeline, what it's going to take to get a good volume of water coming into Guymon. There'll be several presentations by the next meeting. So with that being said, that's it.
Okay.
On the job positionings, just to put it out there on record, where can people look for those links, or do they just come into city?
They can come to City Hall. It's on our webpage. We've also advertised with Oklahoma Municipal League and the Texas Municipal League. It seems like Texas has a pretty good draw.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody have anything?
Ready for the warm weather.
Yeah.
I might touch on that. I think we've got a little bit of snow coming in.
Tomorrow?
I think we've got street department, they're out there. They said they're going to start about 9 o'clock tonight. They're going to pre-sand the emergency routes and the intersections. So if we leave here, be careful. Oh, it's just 7:30. Okay.
Don't run over everybody.
Yeah, and the public schools in preparation have already called for afternoons off. So
Oh, really?
School will be
wow.
released at 12:40 tomorrow.
Okay.
Liberal Kansas canceled already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So be very safe tomorrow.
Okay, I have a couple of things. First off, you know, as Sergio said, I've been involved with OML and whatever, and I honestly, this time at the Mayor's Congress, when the representation from our young people just blew me away. You couldn't wipe the smile off my face. She represented Guymon tremendously. And so I was tickled that I was able to be there and do that. And like Mike, I hope in the next, probably by the next council meeting, that we'll have a few updates. We've been working on lots of different things about water sustainability. And I'm hoping that we'll have some things that we can share. Been in some meetings with DEQ, and maybe we'll go forward, because water's our life. And I want to thank that. I know today I was in a funeral in the Methodist church and the wind hit, and I was sitting close enough I could hear the sirens through the glass. And I really thought about our first responders. They did an adequate job, as they always do, or more than adequate job, as they always do. And I'm tickled they're all safe and home healthy, and glad that everybody's through that deal. So with that, anybody anything else? I guess we gotta go to, we'll adjourn this meeting. Oh, excuse me. Anybody else have any reports?
I'd just like to say, everybody that's running for city council this time, thank you so much. Because without you, we do not give the people an option. And that's what our government is about. So thank you guys and good luck.
Okay, I got ahead of myself there. Okay, agenda item number 24 is public comments and announcements. Let me remind you, if you do have one, you've got about 3 minutes to comment, and Mr. Alviders is our official timer. So, gentlemen, I'll welcome you to the podium if you give us your name and where you live at.
Thank you to be here with you.
Is the microphone on?
Does it say?
Kind of twist it up there so you can,
Yeah, there you go.
you're a little taller than the last
My
time.
name is Atara Ken Malek. I'm South Sudanese by nationality, and I'm American citizen. As a matter of concern, when we came to the United States under supervision of the law of the United States. We are not illegal. And when we come to the United States, we came through different states. And by the time of economic crisis in 2008, many of us moved across the state looking for where to find a job. We came to Guymon and we find a place to work, seaport, and we find ourselves, we are in the community of Guymon.
Would you do me a favor and pick up your microphone and put it closer
All right.
so we can
You
hear
can
you
hold it up,
better?
you can hold it up like a
Yeah, you
mic.
can hold it up like this, or,
Oh,
okay?
Since we live here, like with the city, we live comfortable. But then we are in a peaceful community. And our concern, as a matter of today, we have a concern like a workplace. The seaport. And we all know seaport is operating under supervision of the city of Guymon. And I'm sure you are all aware of what happened on the 9th of January inside the plant. That did hurt us a lot as a community and the people to see one of our guys being shot in front of the people. The reason we didn't took the street is we know the day like today will be here like as we are today. To represent you, our BO. So, what we need is your help. To make us feel like we are home. For me personally, with other people, like when we see, like in my house, 906 Northway, when police pass by, I feel protected. Because, and back home, where I came, people think if you are in the United States, you are in the safest place in the world. You are well protected. And we say, yes, we are. And our concern as a community members of South Sudanese who settle here in Ghana is that are we served in the management, in the hand of the management of civil? We know authority has power and is the one that overruled. If I did something bad, law can take me and deal with me accordingly. And all right. And the way we see it, when we perceive it, it seems like we have a elect, not like the party. So what was done, and it's done. So our being here is to be aware that we need to be protected. When we come here, we come to work and live as a good members of this community. And tell our parents and relatives back home that we are safe. And when such incident happened, like the father of the kid that was executed by the police in the war, had such a thing happen to his kid, he was like, why? Even the mother of the kid worked there for years. That plant, and she was at that on the other side of the plant, and nobody notified her to come and calm down his kid if the kid was out of order. So we need correction in the way. My brother will go ahead and give you his bill when he has something. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adia God. I'm very happy that you give us the chances that we are here. We are completely paralyzed by this incident because it's complete negligence. We are not blaming the city. We are blaming the management, which has been controlled by some people. We are pretending that they know what they are doing, but they don't know what they are doing. If the person who was out of hand, they're supposed to take him out because you can be taken home. What is the function of security at Cebu? There's no function. Because they just see that person doesn't know the law. So that's why they butcher him like a chicken. So what we are requesting from us, management from us, we are requesting where is our safety as a community within the larger society. This is what we request, because person has already gone. Whether there is something to follow it or nothing, we don't know. But what we request, it is our safety to tell us where do we go from here. Because if there is issue with our community here in the area, you will correct us and say, guys, you are too much. But we are not looking for people, we are looking for jobs. That's why we came up to Guymon. Some of us come from East Coast. It's a couple hours from here, in plane. Some come from the west, particularly in Arizona and Washington area. But they came up to this area. Is that because Guymon is beautiful? No. It's because to survive. So we are concerned, and the part of it that my brother told you before was, we don't want to let other criminals go into the protest and destroy the city. That's what we don't want. It's not because we were very happy, but we don't want to let the criminal involved and can be count our community. We don't want that. We are natural men. We are not just with the perception that we are born to be free. No, we are born natural as intellectual in where we came from, and also we are brilliant at the same time. If some of you know our history, we are brilliant and we survive with it because we already know God is with us. We don't fear the small thing. And the great thing that let us come up to this place is the respect. It's not because how strong we are, but it's the respect. So what we need from you as our leaders, it is the protection. And the management from Seaboard is already clear our son, so they are gone with it. And the blood of the son will go whoever upon him. Thank you so much.
Well, gentlemen, all we can do due to the Open Meetings Act is say thank you, because it's public comments. We thank you for talking. We can't, that's all we can say is thank you, but thank you for coming and telling us your story. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other public comments and announcements? Any other public comments and announcements? Okay, and there's no new business. House getting dry. Give them a bottle of water. So we'll adjourn as the Guymon City Council, and I think we need to reconvene as the Guymon Airport Authority.
There's nothing.
There's nothing on it? Oh, I'm sorry.